So I guess you'd call this episode 1 of the Greyscale podcast. My name is Josh Redbeard. The idea behind this podcast is at Greyscale Records, every time we release an album, we want to sit down with the band and get to know them a little bit more, get to know more about the album, the kind of ins and outs of how it happened. And the idea was actually originated by the vocalist of Justice for the Damned, Bobak, sitting to my left here. I had to think about that one for a second. And so it made sense. Justice for the Damned, Pain is Power is now upon the world. Bobak, Nick, thank you for taking the time to make this happen.
Thanks for having us.
My pleasure. Now, as I said, Pain is Power is now upon the world. How is the current vibe in the Justice for the Damned camp?
It is insane.
Yeah.
It was a big album, like a lot of work to go into it, different working styles, and a lot of new territory. So now everyone's very excited and pretty eager because it was a while ago that we recorded it.
Yeah, 100%. Now, before we go forward, I want to go back because, Drag for the Dirt came out almost exactly 3 years ago. When that comes out, you go from being, a local band to headlining Australian tours, smashing out 3 European tours in 3 years. How are you feeling at the end of the Drag Through the Dirt cycle?
Grateful.
Mr. Bobak?
Very grateful. A little bit confident, but also a little bit nervous, but very, very grateful for all the people that we met. And yeah, it's just amazing. It's been an amazing 3 years. I can't believe it's 3 years.
Yeah.
That's a lot of learning as well.
Yeah.
Probably the most amount of learning I've ever had in our career has been in the last 12 months, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely changed from being, a couple young fellas just wanting to play some riffs to people that are much more driven to make it a full-time thing and put everything into it.
Yeah, 100%.
And everyone was ready to put everything into it then, but you go and you do so many things, you sort of go, fuck.
Yeah, but I think there's different levels of putting everything into it. Like when a young band kind of puts everything into it, and then versus the stage you're at now, it's kind of two very different definitions of the term.
Sure.
We kind of almost made, not like we made the decision, but that kind of passively came throughout the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Everything started growing. And then we started realizing the pressure, not necessarily I'm crumbling, I want to quit the band and this is too much. Just the pressures and just the drive, the hustle, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
That definitely came in the last 3 years where all of us collectively were let's do it.
It stokes the fire in your belly.
Yeah. It's like the snowball, it just keeps going.
Yeah, 100%.
You finish one tour and you're like, when's the next one?
Well, what were the goals of Drag Through the Dirt? When that album came out, what were the goals for Justice for the Damned?
As a collective,
I can't even remember.
I don't know if we had that discussion.
Yeah.
Personally, for me, it was to just to start touring and maybe do an overseas tour or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that happened very quickly. And I was
yeah.
Yeah.
Really didn't think we'd do that.
Yeah.
Within a few years of that album, and I think it happened. Only a month after it dropped, so it was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have expected it at all.
And then, as I said, you ended up smashing Europe 3 times. Then after the third tour, you went straight from there to the US to record what would become Pain is Power.
Second record. Second time, sorry.
Brutal.
Second time.
Yeah, third
I
just
just had a
happened.
fifth for an autopsy. Third time was Knock Loose.
Yeah.
Third time was Knock Loose.
Yeah.
And then you went.
No.
You went afterwards, you came back.
Whoa.
My brain's totally...
No. We went.
Go on. He's going to call me out.
Went in May. We went to Europe, did fifth for an autopsy, and then from there we finished in the UK. We flew from London to Newark, and then that's it. We were there for 4 weeks, all of July. But to be fair, I mean, you should know. But to be fair, a lot of people didn't know because we didn't tell anyone. Didn't tell anyone personally. Yeah, you know what I mean. My close friends, school friends or whatever, sometimes still presume that we did a tour in America because I was because we're people know that we went to America, but no one knows why, or no one knew why. But obviously, if you paid a little bit of attention, you could put the dots and dots together. You know what I mean? But
was there any reason behind not telling people though?
It was just
I don't think so.
It was just not.
We were just let's not go post it we are here doing this. But it was sort of if you want to just post a story or something on your gram and you're here and you're obviously recording some stuff. Yeah. That was chill. It's obviously, you do want some people to pick up that you're doing something and that you're being active.
Yeah.
It just wasn't let's outwardly say that this is exactly what's happening.
Yeah. Because
sort of let people put it together.
You don't really you never know. We could record the album, it could have sucked, and we could have broken up. You know?
Yeah. So, plus, like the word of mouth, and I guess like maybe like not rumors, but people talking like, oh, I saw something like that. That's always a good thing.
Yeah,
people talking about it.
Yeah, I'm definitely a fan of like not like keeping secrecy, like not telling anyone, but I do enjoy like a little bit of element of surprise.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's
like
cool,
a bit of it.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Anticipation.
Right. Well, yeah, going into the process, off the back of your second European tour, how much of a break did you get between touring and recording?
Like
0.
Nothing. So we dropped off, and then flew over, and then we got there, and we were there for the afternoon just to chill. Even then, that afternoon, actually, we were starting to like take over because we were grabbing the demos from like my computer at home and sending all the stems for that stuff over like that afternoon. So really, if you think about it, literally nothing.
Like the break was the plane ride.
Yeah. But I mean, it
no
was a pretty
exaggeration.
chill
Like
afternoon.
it was. Like it literally was.
Yeah. But it was a chill afternoon. Got a bit of pizza and it was good.
Nice.
I forgot the tipping. You went out. I forgot the tipping was customary there, and he rocked up, and I was like, "Oh, I've got nothing." You know what I had? I had £5, and I gave that to him. I was like, "I'm really sorry. I just got it a couple of hours ago, but I got this," and he's just like, "I don't know what I'll do with this, but all right." And I was like, "Cool."
Did he sound exactly like that?
It wasn't so southern, but he didn't seem too stoked.
Fair.
Yeah. Good afternoon though. Yeah.
Nice. Now, you always hear like Australian bands talk about Europe as being the proving ground for bands, and often we've seen like and like I saw it with you guys. When you went Europe for the first time, came back, you were a changed band. That really became the proving ground for you. How does recording in the US help Justice grow? Looking at it from that point of view,
I think the people that we worked with in that scenario were definitely just. I guess as far as their standing in this world of music and I guess their status, you might call it, was, I guess, so up there that what that was sort of teaching us. We went into that with all sorts of ideas of how we need to behave and all sorts of etiquette. And me and Chaz would definitely talk a lot about how, like, oh, we're just going to get reamed. Like, we're going to try and record something and it's going to be crap. And, like, it wasn't as full on as we sort of went and presupposed it was going to be. But what we definitely learnt was like how to professionally hold yourself in that scenario as opposed to recording here at home. It's a little bit more laxed, and over there I guess just being the only Aussies that we'd been around for a long time, with the exception of maybe Andy who we saw like once twice, it was just sort of like we got to hold ourselves in a certain way and make sure we're recording and being very studious, and when they ask us to do something we're very efficient and all that. We did come to learn that we could chill out a bit more than that. But I guess maybe to answer that question in my best capacity, that's sort of what I was feeling.
Fair.
The first time we recorded the first record was like in like Sam's bedroom.
Yeah.
And like I think like the biggest difference wouldn't necessarily be like the America thing, or just be like the fact that we went to Graphic Nature and it was like being in the studio, and like on the first day or second day I remember just walking up the stairs. And in the studio, it's like downstairs and there's an upstairs, and we were like mostly upstairs. And when you go upstairs, when you walk into the room, or like from the bottom actually, there's just all of these like vinyls, and like 90% of the vinyls all across the wall are all records they've done, or anything that like Graphic Nature's been a part of. So like you'd walk in and just look at the wall and be like, oh
those people have walked in here.
Yeah, like it has to be like as good or if better. Like we need to like bring it up. And then there's a sick part. This is my favorite part, and this is the part that G'd me up the most, was when I'd walk up the stairs and you get up to the top of the stairs, and on the floor there was like this metal like sign.
Like a placard.
It's almost like like just like this metal thing, and it just said The Machine Shop. And I just looked at it and like I was like, no time to bleed. I was like, oh my God. And I'd walk in and we'd make heaps of Machine Shop like reference as well. I was recording with Steve, and then I actually recorded like most of the vocals in the Machine's room. And then like sometimes if we were doing takes and there was heaps high screams, I was like Mitch like. It was heaps funny. So like that was like it was
something
sick.
We learned.
It was like a vibe. It was like a mood. It was like it was something dangerous in the air when we were there. Like I just felt a certain way. Like, it was sick.
It was hard because I guess, with touring, there are things where it's like you do have to learn an etiquette and you got to learn how to be around those people, and it was a little bit more laxed. So I guess as far as a proving ground, I wouldn't know if it was necessarily that as much as just something totally new. And it was just maybe more of a lesson to us of how we can adapt and just be comfortable in a new environment that was so different, because a lot of us hadn't been to even just that country before.
Yeah.
So just getting used to that, and then being able to work like that was probably the big lessons we learned.
Nice. And going into the studio and the recording process, you actually had an entire album worth of lyrics written that were very promptly scrapped. And I guess kind of starting from that point, what was the impetus behind the decision to reset the lyrics at that stage of the process?
There was definitely a theme and a style of everything before that point, and melodramatic and sad. Sad boy was a term
Very similar.
I've got sad boy written down a couple of times.
It was a term thrown around a lot, and that was sort of not a direction we were all feeling. It was not a direction we were feeling, not a direction everyone was too comfortable going in at that time, and everyone was definitely just feeling something new.
It was
what do you think?
It was very interesting because before we went to Europe, I spent heaps of time with Nick, and I go to his house, and we actually sung out like 3,
almost 4,
the whole
thing.
5. Yeah, like
when you went there, I was just doing songs.
Oh, right, okay. Well, yeah, I did 3 or 4, and we did it. Whatever. He did some stuff, and then we're in Europe, and like we're hanging out. We're just on tour, doing whatever. I remember spending a day with Joe, and he was showing me the new Fit for an Autopsy record, like just with like headphones, like we're just listening, showing a couple of pre-pos, whatever. And then that was like halfway through the tour, and for the rest of the tour, I was just sitting there, and I was like, I don't know if I want to sing about this. Like, I don't know. But I didn't have like the guts to bring it up to anyone, because I didn't want to like put the pressure on everyone and be like, hey.
It's a big change.
Yeah, like it's like from London, we were flying straight to the studio to start recording, and I wanted to be like,
that's the other thing.
Like,
you're worried about scrapping that much. Like, can we even do that?
Yeah. Like, I don't want like everyone to be like start freaking out, and then like fireworks start going off.
Yeah,
people just start going crazy. And then we got there, and then Marshy was there and Will was there.
Like day 2.
Yeah. I remember getting the message on my phone from Marshy, and they were just like, hey, I hope it's cool if we delete all lyrics and the phrasing and just start from like full scratch. And I'm pretty sure like the next message is like, do you reckon you and the boys will be capable of doing this? And I looked at my phone, and for a split second I was like, oh shit. But then like after that I was like so keen, like I was so excited, and I was like, yes. I was like, we're doing it. So we started writing lyrics from like day 3, and it almost kept going until like, the end. Like truly, we just kept changing. How can we make it better? How can we make it better? How can we make it better? It was cool. That was actually some big like educational. We learnt a lot.
Yeah, like not as much externally, but even just sort of how we work with each other.
Yeah, I would say both.
Totally. Yeah, that's true. Actually, but just totally new. And another factor into changing as well is the music is a lot heavier, which I imagine people will figure out eventually when they get around to listening to it. It's a lot heavier, a lot meaner, and that was another thing. These two things just don't seem to work together.
Yeah.
On other stuff, I guess it kind of did, but in this, it was like, this really needs to feel like a lot more powerful and a lot more angry.
Yeah. So well, I mean, I guess that's the thing.
Big prompt
is like,
to the change as well.
Yeah. When you look at lyrically on Drag Through the Dirt, there is a lot of sad boy lyrics on there, and there are a lot of very deeply and intensely personal themes, and it seems like those themes continue into Pain is Power, but the way that they're kind of delivered, how difficult was it breaking out of the quote unquote sad boy?
Depends on the song, because like, they had like a lot of different themes, but let's say Pain is Power, like title track, there's a big theme around taking what was hurting you and sort of trying to making the best out of it, make something positive about it. And I remember us all really struggling with that one in particular for a while, because we're sort of going, how can we say these things in a way that feels like fresh and more like authentic to how we were feeling, I guess, at that time. I remember that being a big struggle. I remember us sitting in that side room just being like, how we do this?
To answer the question like specifically, like the difficulty of changing for me personally wasn't difficult at all, because when we were writing the lyrics, we like set rules of like how our mindset would be when we're writing the lyrics. So because we set those rules, it was like those things that would have tempted the way that the lyrics would be written were fully not in my mind or like in anyone's mind. So when we're like I'm just answering the question. Like, it wasn't as difficult as I thought it would be. Yeah. But like, that's a great question. But
but I mean, it's also interesting you say that, because it's like when, you know, it's that sort of juxtaposition when artists talk about creative freedom and no limitations or anything like that. But a lot of artists, when they put limitations on themselves, tend to come out with better stuff. Like when you say, right, this is what we have, how can we make it work? And you're like, this is the first time that Justice has really worked as a whole, writing lyrics as well. Yeah. How did like the other members of the band as well come in? Because obviously you two do a lot of this stuff. How did, you know, Chaz and Ben and Kieran come into this as well?
Well, it was really interesting. So the day that Will came around to sort of say to us, all right, because like obviously everyone sort of knew the vibe, but he came along and said, all right, here's the deal. So we were listening to a few demos and he was throwing out some instrumental ideas and he goes, all right, so the sad sort of stuff, we really want to move away from it. Can we start it again? And I'd written a lot of stuff before and he sort of gave me a look like, what do you think? Can you do it? And I said, I don't think I can. I definitely can't. And because we were doing a lot of instrumental pre-pro too. So at that point I said, like, sort of looked at everyone, because I was sitting on like one of the office chairs. All the other guys were on the couch and I was like looking at it. I was like, the boys can do it. The boys can definitely do it. And then so he said, all right, that night, like, I just want you all to give me topics. Like, just sit together and come up with just topics before anything else. Send them to me and then we'll start working on what we're feeling out of those topics. And then from there, we'll progress to making songs. But that night was really great because so once everyone had gone, Steve and him had gone, it was just us sitting in this studio alone. And we sort of went, all right, so what are we going to do? Everyone sort of went off to their rooms, just wrote a couple topics down. And then we all came in. It was like a sleepover, like when you're like 10. Everyone's like lying on the ground. There's like a big bag of Skittles everyone's eating. And everyone's like, all right, I got this idea. And we're all just talking about it and just fleshing them out. And just basically at that point, not like vetoing things yet, but we're just going, all right, how can we just sort of write this in like a simple paragraph that we can summarize this idea? And from then go ahead and like write a song.
Kieran had some sick ideas. He wrote like a very big majority of the lyrics, and like he had this heaps cool thing where he was like, all right, let's get the topic and like just like keep the topic and then also write like a random fictional story.
Yeah.
So when we sent off all the topics, some of them also had like just little fictional stories, and then some of them like the story became the topic or the theme, you know what I mean?
Really cool.
So like there's a couple songs that are actually a story instead of like necessarily a topic.
Do you remember your favorite story?
Personally, my favorite story is probably Machine of War.
Chaz's one?
Yeah, Chaz's one. Yeah, Machine of War is definitely. Sorry, I think I want to say all the pre-pro names. That's why I paused.
What can you tell me about this? Because I'm really interested in this. This is sick. But like, what can you tell me about the story?
This is a hard one.
Yeah, it's
hard for us to tell.
Because we're not actually allowed to say a lot of it. Yeah, and that as well. Chaz definitely should be the one to say it, but it's about someone that we know.
Well, remember, it kind of happened one of those nights.
I actually wasn't going to say that, but if you wanted to,
well, we can sort of touch on it.
Yeah. So
he had a call from someone, but they sort of explained something, and from that something, it rocked him, and he sort of came in to talk to us afterwards, going, that was really intense, and he was really worried about his friend because he obviously cares for him a lot, and he's been friends with him for a really long time, and I guess it was just. What do you call it? I don't know. Just the timing. It
was magical.
Everything. Here we are needing to write about something, and he's going, man, something's happened.
Yeah.
Like, couldn't have happened at a better time, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is weird to say, but
it's also great hearing stuff like that as well, because like when I've listened to the thousands of times already that I've listened to that song, how I've pictured it in my head is not exactly like that, but it's like it's cool hearing that sort of like how a song comes about versus how you envision it comes about.
Actually, as a fan. That song specifically has one of my favorite stories. So like it's about Chaz's friend, of Machine of War. He's from the military or whatever. And the coolest thing was when we were matching. So we actually had one evening where Will came in and we sat down and we had 11 songs that were going to be on the album, which is now 10. We had 11, and then his top 11 topics, and we sat there and he was like, all right, let's match this topic to this song because this song has this vibe, and he like matched it all. And then with the pre-pro, like the demo version of Machine of War, it starts off with like a blast beat, and then the blast beat never returns. And he was like, something cool we can do here is that with that blast beat section, you can like try and like verbally tell a story of like being like at battle, running through, and then when the song kicks in, make it like from his perspective when the song like kicks in. And now every time I listen to it, I'm like, oh, like that's so cool. Like I can fully, like it's just like the way that's written, like everything
dream
kinda,
sequence.
That's
what that was. The
that's
dream sequence before snapping back to reality.
Yeah, that's the
really
yeah. When I told my friends that, they were like, oh, that's why you paid for a producer.
That's pretty funny. It was great. Yeah, that was a really great one.
That's sick. And then like you spent 14 days just working on vocals on this.
Approx, maybe more, maybe less.
We were doing some things at the same time on those days too.
Yeah, but I mean, like in my brain, as someone who's never spent any time in the studio, in my brain, mathematically, that doesn't make any sense because that's like a day and a half to record, effectively 3 minutes. Can you tell me about why it takes 14 days to record?
Take it away,
10
Bobby.
songs.
Well, me and Steve did the vocals, and Steve and I. So
shout out Steve Said.
It's definitely shout out Steve.
Yeah.
We started doing one song a day, I think, and then at the end of the day, he'd export it, and it would come to the Dropbox file. I'll sit, listen to it like on the toilet or somewhere.
And that was just mains at that point.
They were just mains. It was all two. It's just everything was doubled, but none of like the crazy stuff or anything special. And then after a certain while, so after like a week or two, when everything was, when we realized we were ahead of time, that's when I kind of turned around to him. Or like we kind of like really linked, like we kind of had the same ideas at the same time. And I kind of turned to him and I was like, do you want to start experimenting? Like, let's just like start doing stuff that like people don't do, or like, let's try like this pitch here, or let's try like these lyrics instead, or let's try this phrasing. So we just like go back and completely like mute something and then just do something else. And we just spent a lot of time. Yeah, it was so crazy. And then eventually we ended up recording for 2 weeks or more, or a bit less. But yeah, we recorded from a certain point all the way to the day before we flew home.
Yeah, there was a few lines being done that day.
Yeah.
The rest of us were definitely stressing a little bit toward the end.
Yeah, it was really funny because I could tell that like the rest of the boys were stressing, and then me and Steve were literally on YouTube watching Superwalk videos. Like
think about the rest of us sitting in the next room, just knowing that that's going on. We're all just like, oh, there's how many days left till we're done? Oh my God, we got to do this.
And I'm coming out of the studio like happy as, like, oh yeah, boys, like, yeah, just finished like a song. And dude, we just watched the funniest YouTube video, and the boys are like, huh.
How's the song going though?
But me and Steve like knew, we had no, and I would tell. I remember Kieran came in one day and he was like, do you think they're going to be upset that like, you know, like you.
He was definitely voicing the concerns of the group.
He was
being the voice of the group. We were all really worried that like, oh no, because remember you asked like proving ground, and I was saying etiquette, right?
Yeah.
And I was saying, you learn how to act more professionally, blah 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 blah. Yeah, like that was just totally not what we'd spent like, all this time thinking we could do.
Superwalk videos.
So we're all just like, oh my God, they're all gonna think we're.
And then like at the time, like the not bad, like that thing was trending. And then like Steve loved that, and we went onto Amazon and he bought one of those like buttons that like yes or like no or like a horn or something.
Yeah.
And he bought one that you could customize,
like your own thing.
Put on MP3s on. So he bought one, and then like. We just put on like the not bad, good size, and then we were just like smacking that thing. Yeah,
it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was so good.
It was a good gag.
Yeah.
And as well as Steve, as you kind of said, you worked with the very legendary Will Putney, and you've mentioned a couple of things already. But what do you think is the most important thing that he brought to the table?
Definitely perspective
and knowledge.
Perspective and knowledge. Things that were different to what we had thought before, coming from his mind. And when you think about it, his mind is someone who's made or helped make all these really fantastic records that have gone on to do so well. So for him to come along and just look at what we're doing, and we've only got the perspective of just us in our little old band doing a couple riffs, like, oh, what do you reckon? But he's got this wealth of knowledge on how things could be done way better, and just lyrical ideas, or just his methods, which we sort of covered as well, like what he said, like go and come up with topics, and his ways of like fostering a creative dynamic amongst us was really cool. You know, he knew how to get the best out of us.
He's like a steroid. He's like a human embodiment.
You could say that,
yeah. And like something I don't know. This is just like a full presumption. Like I haven't spoken to him about this at all. But when we finished and as more graphic nature releases came out and when more releases started coming out, I started realizing that what he said to us in the studio also like tried to make us more unique. Like it's almost like he not only did he have the knowledge from the past, but it was almost like he was looking towards the future, where he was like in the next 5 years, or like, you know what I mean? Because like the goal of like a record, I'm just talking about me personally, not like the whole band, but like a goal of creating a record is to create something like timeless. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be like the biggest thing in the world. Or
you want it to be up on the walls in that studio. For
yeah.
That's
You know what I mean? Like, and you want to listen to something in 10 years, like, and like be like, oh, this album's still like really cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like he has that. Like that's how his brain like works. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was so cool. Like he just walked into the room and everyone changed. Like the aura of the room was just like something else. And then when like there's so many stories. I can go on for days. Like even the Machine of War story. Like anytime I tell anyone that story, they're kind of like, now, okay, that's Will. Like now we get it. Yeah.
And I guess musically too, really cool ideas for how to structure songs and how to make things sound just a bit of a cut above what we already had there. Like there's definitely one song in particular, I probably won't bother naming it, but all the structural ideas we're putting in, and Steve was also getting really involved in that too. For the longest time I was like, I just don't get this structure, hey. Like for ages. But I was very much certain that no matter what, I was trust the process. That was something we were sort of saying, and I was like, all right, it's all right, whatever they reckon, we'll just roll with it. And then by the end of it, a little bit before the end, to us, by the time we were doing vocals and it was all tracked, I was like, yeah, this thing's sick. And then when I go and listen back to the old, I'm like, what? So he saves you from all, you know, he gives you those beautiful moments where you can go back and like, what the heck was that?
Yeah.
Thank fuck.
All right, what about like, you know, if we say this one as, you know, individuals, what is the most important lesson that each of you learned as a guitarist, as a vocalist from working with Will?
Oh gosh,
there's a challenge.
Don't be shit.
Yeah, it's a big one. Don't be shit.
Is that like a saying?
There's no time to be shit.
Yeah, there's no time to be shit.
There's no time to be shit. That's not even a joke. Yeah, that's actually.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's what I would walk away with as like the number one thing. It's kind of stuck on my mind. It's like before stage, it's like, you can't be shit. Like, what's your excuse? Don't be shit.
I think in my scenario, it might be less guitar orientated and more songwriting orientated, but it was just to, I guess you always sort of hope that you're going to be like that you're going to be open to all the other ideas and that you're going to be ready to change up what you sat there thinking is really good for a while. But he definitely, like, maybe more than just sort of taught me it, but showed me it, like really gone, like, you know, here are these lyrics, gone. And, you know, a couple song structures, you know, totally different. Like the riffs are all, you know, somewhat the same, but the structures especially will really change. And it sort of really taught me to sort of like just not just trust the process, but trust the ideas of everyone else. Yeah. And remember that, you know, you're in a band full of really smart and like talented people. So they've all got really cool ideas too. And it's a great thing to see what they've got and implement it and see how it makes that thing that you're creating be so cool in the end.
Yeah, no, I like that. And then, you know, I guess staying on the topic of people who have influenced the album, I mean, you know, as I said, you know, the multiple times you've toured the world, you know, the Australian tours that you've done with international bands, is there, I mean, who else has had an impact on what became Pain is Power? What other musicians, artists, creatives, like who else out there had an impact on what became Pain is Power?
If I'm talking musically and the riffs,
anyone that you've experienced under the concept of Justice for the Damned.
Yeah, right. I think when it comes to riffs, other than just all the bands I love, and that we might have played with like Kublai or Knock Loose and all that stuff, like some people that like we sort of took it in some different directions, and some people that I really found to be big influences because I just love what they do. One is Will himself. I love what he does. I also really rate our manager Andy's just creative vibe and his playing. I love it, and it was big influence as well. Just not like ripping riffs, but just the way that he approaches the guitar, man. It's sick. And I think specifically, which is kind of funny because we went to record, I guess, you know, in Graphic Nature and be so within the family, but the influences sort of came closer to home than I would have thought. Those people, those peers that we sort of were around for that time, and then Fit for an Autopsy, I mean, right before it, like, just those people were definitely a big impact on just musical ideas and the sort of sounds I like to hear nowadays.
Yeah.
Which was really cool.
What about you, Bobby?
Sorry, what was the question?
What other artists or creators that you've met over the years through your touring do you think has had an impact on what became Pain is Power?
You get 2 of those, by the way. 2 restarts.
2 of those.
Yeah, and then you run out.
I don't know, like, for Pain is Power specifically, the only, like, influence, like, artistically, like, songwriting and, you know, music-wise, I actually don't have an answer for that question. But as, like, an artist or, like, you know, like, whatever you want to call it, I definitely would I'd probably actually just say Via. Not because, like, they might necessarily be, like, better than anyone else that we've met or anything like that. It was just, they were the first band that took us overseas, and, like, they were, like, the first, like, big band that kind of, like, took us under their wing. And, like, they taught us so much so quick about so much, you know what I mean? And it was like, it kind of like fueled my fire, and it made me, it inspired me so much. And it's just, it's just things like, you know, people, when you're growing up, people are like, oh, like there's no money in music.
Yeah.
And then, like, you go overseas for the first time and you were like, you were all wrong. Like, what are you talking about? You
just got to work for it.
Yeah. Like, you just have to work. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like a pass around thing. It's on pass to parcel. Like, you don't get shit like served to you. Like, you have to work, and, like, it doesn't end. Like, you just, like, it just keeps going. Like, once you hit a goal, you're like, okay, cool, I have to hit the next one.
The journey's the reward, eh?
Yeah.
But, you know, even long before that, like, it's interesting to say because of how we've come into having that be a bit of a big brother band, you know, like, giving us a lot of performance opportunities, and Andy obviously doing all the work he does for us. Many years before all this, before even I was involved with Justice, just the first show I went to that was not, you know, some big stadium, ANZ Stadium thing, was to watch them play at, like, the Factory back. And I remember, like, you know, big horseshoe, like, maybe not a horseshoe, but, you know, like, that big empty gap, like, not a whole lot of people there, but just to give you a sense of the time that's passed since then. But just back then, even, it was just the first sort of group that made me, like, really go, what the hell, I have to do this. I've got to do this. And then just loving the music they do and they put out. And it's just sort of interesting how it's sort of come full circle. And like what you were saying,
I always find that very interesting, though, where, like, the amount of times that I've heard people say, like, you know, like, you get into the scene young, you start working, and the amount of people who influence you at a young age that you end up just kind of working with is actually kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, you know, in the, obviously this is all about you, but, like, in the years that I've been in the industry, the amount of people that, like, I remember watching you when I was 11 years old or 12 years old.
Yeah.
Like, all these years that I was like, oh, we're working together now. It's kind of funny.
And we follow each other on Instagram. And
that I always find really funny. It's like, when I follow you on Instagram, you're just kind of like, you know who you are,
Like, what the fuck?
It's crazy that age.
I always think about like 16-year-old self.
Yeah, that's what I was
gonna
say.
I mean? Or, like, sometimes when we're on tour, if I ever feel tired or if I ever feel like, I don't want to say uninspired, like I'm just lazing around, like I don't want to be here.
Sometimes you get burnt out.
But yeah, sometimes you get burnt out when you play like 28 shows in a row. Like, I definitely sometimes like go into the bathroom, lock the door, hop in the shower, and just like psych myself up. I was like, what would 16-year-old Bobak say? Like, do not let him down. Like, what are you doing?
You'd be freaking out. Sometimes when like you're sitting on the bus and you're just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It's almost like that part of you is still in there. All of a sudden, he just got a look, and he just went, "What the fuck?" Just knocked on the inside. And you're like,
we've actually never had this discussion. I thought it was just me.
No, but I don't think that ever goes away. Like
I hope not.
Like, my favorite things, like, I consider Jason Butler from, like, you know, Let Live, Fever, like one of the top. Like, he's just up there. He's the man. But, like, watching him sweat dudes like the Gavin Rossdale from Bush, when he like commented on one of his Instagram posts, he lost his mind. And I was just like, you realize you're Jason Butler.
Yeah.
I don't ever think that goes away. I think that's literally a thing that goes on.
The only reason why I believe you is because of the Billie Eilish Justin Bieber thing. Because Billie Eilish is so big, and she literally posted about Justin Bieber the other day. Like, and she's huge, you know what I mean? Like, it happened.
can't escape it.
No,
it's beautiful though.
Yeah, 100%. But bringing you back to Pain is Power, because that's obviously what this podcast is. I don't mind the Justin. That's what we're here to talk about. maybe it's the generic question, but I feel like it kind of has to be asked. Is the concept of Pain is Power is such an ominous title? Why is that the message of this album? Why Pain is Power?
You go first.
When why is Pain is Power the title? When we were coming up with the topics, it was the original like version of the lyrics was like sad boy, like we've already spoken about like what it was, melodramatic, blah blah blah, and it was like Pain is Power. When I wrote the topic, I was kind of like taking in negative energy and pushing out like positive energy, not necessarily as in like everyone should be happy, like write songs about being so happy. It wasn't necessarily like that, but it was kind of like
power.
Jumping, power, yeah, you know what I mean? And then when Will and the rest of the boys went over it, they kind of just went, like this should be like
really stuck out.
What? Yeah, it did stick out, yeah.
And if you look at it as well, I mean, it sort of also encapsulates the actual shifting of like lyrical styles and themes that we went for. It was sort of, at one point it's singing about feeling so broken and damaged, and now it's sort of going, look, take all that still exists and was back then. You take that and you turn it into something really great.
Yeah.
And it was not just, I guess, lyrically, but you even think about just doing the album in general. I guess this is me just thinking about this right now.
That's what these podcasts are for.
It's kind of, it's like you're doing the album in general, like Pain is Power. Like you had to go through a lot of hardships to do it, and you've turned something that was once very difficult into something good. So, both personal hardships and even just something like going to do an album. You get there and all of a sudden you trash all your lyrics and you go, oh man, what am I going to do? You're going to make the best of it. It's I guess that's probably why it earned the top spot, because it just applies everywhere in so many ways.
Yeah, which is then
felt that.
Yeah,
that's then interesting, because it comes back to like what I was saying earlier about how the perception from the fan versus what the artist means. With Machine is Machine of War, I was very, very far off, but you say that and I've literally written as a note underneath, hope behind the hate ? Which is basically what you're talking about then. It's like there is this anger behind it, but it almost comes from a positive place.
I think another really cool thing as well, I'm speaking about myself specifically, but I can see it in the rest of the boys, but the cool thing about Pain is Power, and that being like what'd you say, hope
behind the hate ?
Like the cool thing about that is that I think I'm just going to speak for myself.
It's going to rewrite the lyrics now.
Like that happened like to me personally. You know what I mean? Between like the two albums, like something happened to me, like something happened to almost like everyone in the band, and it was kind of like, okay, like this has happened to me in my personal life, has nothing to do with the band, but like I cannot let it affect like everyone else.
You're at a crossroads at that point, aren't you?
Yeah.
How am I going to deal with this situation?
Yeah, it's like, that was pretty much it. It was like what's it called? Bend or, what was it? Make or break. Yeah, I said bend or break.
Sink or swim.
Yeah, sink or swim, you know what I mean? And it was just like, fuck, like I have to take in the negative and I have to push out the positive. Like this must be done.
There's a line in that song where it says, outsider, pariah, became my fucking armor. And it's like, I like that because it sitting under, when you're trying to explain it and you sort of maybe draw that line out, it really sort of shows that, like what you're trying to say there. You take something really hard and use it as armor. Use it as something that you use to show how you can overcome.
Yeah. No, I dig that.
And be your best.
I dig that. And like where I don't want to go like track by track through the whole thing. You should explain it all, because I feel like that would take a very, very long time. But what I really want you to do is to think about one song from the album each. Doesn't have to be a favorite song, but the song that you're thinking about right now, because there'll be one that just kind of sticks in there as the most important song to you. And I want you to tell me what song you've chosen and why.
Nick, go first.
I'm probably going to have to say Pain is Power,
Yeah.
Or did you want to set that as a rule, not that one?
I was saying if it wasn't Pain is Power.
No, what's the first one that came into your head?
If Pain is Power is the first one that came into your head, but we have just been talking
Well,
about
here's
that.
the thing. The first one that came to my head is just as a favourite. I really like Sinking to the Floor, Thinking into the Floor.
Sinking into the Floor, yeah.
I like it because it was a really cool direction. It was a lot more abstract and it had a lot of themes that I really dug. But then you said most important. And then when you said most important, my answer changed, because Pain is Power really is most important.
Well, tell me about Singing Through the Floor, because I don't want to play favorites, but it may be my favorite song on the album.
Yeah.
Like what was your experience, and why is this one the first one that kind of popped into your
Well,
head?
it's interesting. It really didn't have anything to do with me.
Yeah.
I just really liked it.
Yeah, I wrote.
Yeah. It was you and Kieran's baby. It was something just way more abstract and out there and dark and sort of about like a... I guess it's got some really good themes because...
The topic is fucking mad.
Yeah, I guess... So when we were talking about the stories hell early on, the story that was sort of got used to like describe it or sort of best convey the idea is you're like a body. Like you've died at this point. Somehow you've retained some sort of conscience or sentience in there and you've been left behind. You know, you hear about that happening. People, they pass away in their homes and no one knows because no one's checked on them, and it's a very lonely and depressing thing. It's probably the one sad theme that made it through, so maybe that's why I like it.
It's really like sad song.
But it's interesting because, you know, it's like it's written in such a way that seems so unreal because obviously it's like, you know, obviously you pass away, or obviously none of us have done that yet. But you pass away, ideally you're not there. Yeah. You're not there sitting in your body waiting, and it's told from that perspective, which is obviously really out there and, you know, fantastical and all that. So, but it sings about, you know, that idea of just being left behind, I guess.
Yeah, the topic, like the fictional story was a dead body rotting in an apartment and no one coming to find it. And then like, you know how like, you can look it up. It doesn't happen all the time, but your body like starts decaying or whatever after a certain amount of time, and then it actually like seeps through the floor. Like if you die and you're on the floor, like the acidity of your like corpse, like, and that's like
it's very metal.
It's a very cool, and that was, but it's a very dark imagery.
And then that was, I wrote like a whole bunch of lyrics, and then Kieran had like this little section, and me and Kieran were piecing together everything. And then we just chucked, he had this like hectic set of lines, which is like the soft part, like when it comes out, I guess you hear it. Yeah. The soft part, that's like his one. And then me and Steve sat there like for a whole day, just like going through the phrasing, how can we make it better? Yeah. Will came in, and then we just came out like that. And I think the last 3 lines is, oh my God, break the threshold, breathe in my mold. Like there's something. I'm on the spot.
Sorry. Yeah, fair enough.
And yeah, like that.
Cross the threshold.
Cross the threshold, ready your soul, breathe in my mold. It's cool.
The imagery is cool. There was a lot of lyric stuff I wasn't there for because I was doing a lot of tracking. Yeah. And I remember coming in and them showing me that. And I was like, this is sick. So when you want to talk just favourites, I'll probably put that one up there.
All right. Nice. Bobby, what about you?
My favourite? I probably have to go with Final Cataclysm. That's the 3rd track on the record. That because I had a very, very big turning point in my life personally, where the song isn't directly about this at all. Like there's actually like this is highlighted a couple times.
It's a little bit politically skewed, that one.
Yeah, like by the end of that song, it goes slightly political, but for like some themes and in track number 5, no piece of the video master, like that, like both those songs kind of highlight mostly Final Cataclysm, no piece, but they highlight like the whole like 9 to 5 thing, where it's kind of like you grow up, you finish high school, go to uni, work, mortgage, you're 40, you have like 3 kids, and and then you retire at 55, 60, and that's how you die. Like
because
like when I was young, like when I'd hear that, I'd be like, what? I'm like, what do you mean? I was like, there's no way that's all we do. And like in the last funny enough, linking it back to before, between Drag Through the Dirt and now, in my personal life, I've actually had that like discussion with my school friends, and me and another friend of mine have actually fully stepped away from like 9 to 5. You know what I mean? Like it's low key, like the brokest I've probably been in the last 3 years, but like, but it's like, yeah, like it and then Kieran wrote most of that one, if not all of that one, and I wasn't like influencing him at all. Like he wrote like a lot of that, and then me, Steve, and him, or everyone, we put it all together. And then like I couldn't believe that like that's what had happened. Like it goes like a decade now, living under the halogen glow, servant to the clock, commuting in the shadow. And like that's literally about going to work and working under a spotlight. You know what I mean?
We should probably point out as well that the original theme story, and correct me if I was wrong, that was the one where, you know, the world has reached an apocalyptic event, and it's the cause because we were also very passionate about, you know, climate issues and stuff like that. that was the cause in our story. And it was less talking about that as much as talking about just the insignificance of all the things you did in your life before that point, all the things you cared about, all the things you made a big fuss about. And you sort of look back, and it's almost like if you were able to sit there standing in the wasteland of what was once the lovely earth and just going, holy fucking shit, what was all that I just did for the last however many years of my life? Like, that didn't matter. Like, there were so many things I should have done. And it's sort of like where you're getting, you know, like people that will just go and do the 9-to-5 thing. And I mean, you know, if that's what makes someone happy, then that's what makes them happy.
Yeah, like if it's your thing, it's your thing. I'm not shitting on anyone.
But I guess in our personal,
it's more about the people who feel like that's what they have to do, rather than like actually having.
Or people who like I feel like I've attacked a few people, but some people are so like not so, but I feel like some people are too. Oh my god, this is so embarrassing. I fully just forgot how to say the word. Like too like they base their life too much on how like what marks they get, what job they have, like what degree they do, and it's like sometimes that's not actually what life is about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's similar to like a concept a friend of mine told me when very young. It's
academic.
Like,
oh my god, that's the word I was looking for. People base their life on academics. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, but it was a concept a friend told me a long time ago. It's just like there are people that exist, and their literally only means for existence is justifying that existence.
Crazy.
And it's like there's no point to it. It's just like if that's the only reason you exist, then what's the point?
Isn't it crazy? So it got a bit existential. On that
Sounds like it. Yeah.
When we walked out of the studio, like that was one where I was kind of like, damn, this is fucking. I mean, all the songs, like for the most part, for me personally, are like relatable. But that one, for some reason, like that caught me off guard. You know what I mean? So then when we came home, I was kind of like, what the fuck? And I spoke to Kieran about it once, and Kieran had to remind me. He's like, it's not just about that. Just like, that's what
I was thinking.
Yeah.
And I was like, step in and remember and remind us all what that was about.
I was like, don't fucking ruin my moment, okay?
It's interesting how, you know, you get to the end of the album and then like you derive new meanings from everything you've just written. You know, you're saying the artist to I've forgotten how you worded it, but you know how you perceive the song to how the artist perceived it, and almost you perceive it differently yourself after you've gone and made it.
Especially when it's a collective thing.
Yeah.
We were talking today, and I said something, and Nick was like, "Are you sure that's what we all think?" And I was like,
"Yeah." I was like, "Does everyone know?" Yeah, we were talking about the album meeting. I was like, "Is that what does everyone know that?"
Well, there you go. Again, it was another saying I was taught when I was very, very young. Is art is 50% intention, 50% interpretation.
Yeah.
So it actually doesn't matter what you mean it to be. Someone else can take it completely different.
Straight up. Even you'll do it yourself.
Yeah. Drop some knowledge on you, Nicholas. That's what I'm here for.
I'm a lucky boy.
All right, we're gonna slowly bring this to a close, and I guess, you know, like we've spoken about a couple of lessons that you've learned, but if you had to say that there was one important lesson that you've learned from this whole experience, what is it?
Just the recording?
Just all the whole Pain is Power experience up to this point?
I think maybe a bit of what I've talked about before, being able to be open with your artistic input and being able to, like, I guess not just doing it because you think you have to, but just sort of actually being able to go recognise when you might have not have brought the best thing to the table and gone, you know what, like, there are some very smart individuals here and they're all got really cool ideas. And so not just doing it because you think, well, it's the only way it's going to get done, but actually going, no, like, I back what they're doing. I'm going to stand by it, and it's great.
Yeah.
That's probably my one.
I like it.
Probably just learnt to be a bit more just grateful. I said it before. But that's literally it. Like, that's literally it. Like, that's what I've learned, is to kind of smell the flowers, smell the roses.
Probably also learned that recording is sick. I want to go back there. We were done, and I was like, I can't wait to come back.
I literally finished the last line, and I looked at Steve, and I was like, "Want to do another one?"
Yeah, dude. I keep thinking about it too. Just lately,
about doing another
just
record,
every now and then. I don't know, when we're talking about just all the release stuff for this, like, I just like go, I want to do it again.
Yeah.
Well, on behalf of your label, it's not happening for a while. All right, the final question. At the start of this whole chat, we talked about what the goals were for Drag Through the Dirt. And now because we're going to check this. In your next album, you're going to come back, and I'm going to find out. I'm going to check you on this one. What are the goals for Pain is Power and Justice for the Damned from now?
Do you have any off the top of your head?
Yeah. Like, personal one.
Yeah, personal one, band ones.
I would love to tour every single continent. And then start playing shows in like unusual places where people don't like play. You know what I mean? Like do like the South Africa one, or like go to
Brazil.
Maybe South America.
Yeah, actually go to Brazil. Yeah, I never forget the first time we went to. Sorry, what did you say?
Like South America as well.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I remember the first time we went to Spain with Dyer. We played Barcelona, I think it was, or Madrid. Don't remember which city.
We both of them.
No. I'm just talking about. Just wait, you hear my story. Okay. And this kid came up to me in merch, and he was like, "Oh my god, I love your band." Blah, 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 blah. And then like he was like, he's like, "Can you please tell the Artist Murder that there are a lot of metal fans in Morocco, and that they should come to Morocco." And like, because Spain is like pretty much like connected, yeah, but it's like different continent or whatever. And then I was there, and I was kind of like, I want to have that power when I can make a decision to play a show like somewhere like unusual, you know what I mean? Like, Metallica played at Tartscar or something, or something ridiculous like that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that.
I think for me, a big one that is resounding is just to be able to do it again, to work hard on it, so that and it's you don't obviously get into it for like revenue or money and all that sort of stuff, but obviously there's an element of it that you need to be able to keep yourself going. And sometimes what I think about when you do an album is one of the goals that is also there at the back of my mind, because you want to be artistic for the most part, but you also think about, you want to come back and do another one. I want to do it again. And so doing what we're going to do after this, and is just go and tour as much as we can.
It's a never-ending hustle.
Just live it. That's the thing, I guess. That's the best way to say it.
Actually,
live it.
I have a goal, but like it's not.
Go on, this is the place.
Yeah, like it's not like it's not.
A safe space.
It's not like Pain is Power based, but we toured with Knock Loose, and obviously became friends and whatnot, and something cool that they educated me, which is something that like obviously I kind of already had a hunch for because of Europe, like touring Europe, but Australia has like 5 capital cities, or like 5 cities that people tour to. You have Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, Perth. Right,
sometimes.
And then sometimes, yeah, and Adelaide sometimes too. Just like being realistic, you know what I mean. And then you have maybe Newcastle, Wollongong. Maybe if you're from Queensland, you can play Gold Coast or Sunshine Coast, and maybe Geelong. Like there's so many maybe like B, like we have that's like the A market, and the B market is like our regional. But then Knock Loose is like, oh yeah, like like we have like A, B, and like kind of like C, and we can do like a tour for like 6 weeks. And I was like, what? I was like, you can tour for that long? And they're like, yeah, like you totally can. And I was like, mad. And ever since then, like my goal has been like, it's not like that achievable. I mean, it could be, but I fully want to like tour for a year. Like I want to like not go home. Like I want to literally tour for 12 months and like just never end.
I think it's a very unified point, isn't it? Like I sort of skewed my last one to be a little bit living off it, but it's kind of like everyone's shared goal is to just continue doing it as much as we can do it till your bodies won't let you anymore.
But not like...
And then some. Keep doing it.
But not like... But like do as much as you can, but not like oversaturate. And not, like, you gotta keep it smart. Like you have to, There's definitely, there's what's it called? Something of the madness.
Method to the madness.
Method to the madness. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
How can you tour all the time?
Yeah, and then the whole continent thing comes into play.
Yeah,
because you just
switch continents.
There you go.
There you
go.
You can just keep playing and ripping fat gigs.
Well, gentlemen, I think it's a fantastic note to leave it on. Thank you so much for being part of the very first Greyscale Records podcast.
It's been great. I hope it does well.
Yeah, we're just going to get some food now, I think. But it's sick. Bobak, thank you for the idea for this, because it's like I said, credit where credit is due.
Next time we'll eat hot food. Sour stuff.
That'll be the other podcast. We'll have 2 of those.
Okay, sick.
Podcast, and then we'll just have the food challenge.
Yeah,
podcast.
sick.
Yeah, sick. Thank you for tuning in, for listening, for supporting Greyscale Records. However you do, it's, as I said, this is a family. This is a really DIY effort. It always has been. It always will be. And it's fucking cool. If you're a part of this, thank you.
Peace.